Kia ora! My name's Anita and I am Neats Marie Reads, and welcome back to my channel. So I thought that I would do the books that I read in August. So my August wrap up. I normally just do this on Bookstagram, but I thought, why not wrap it up on here too for the people that aren't on Instagram? So it wasn't a huge month of reading for me, but I am one that likes quality over quantity. So even though I only read 3 books, they were 3 really, really good books, and I'm very content with knowing that yes, I didn't reach a certain goal of mine, but the mere fact that each one of these books left me feeling really good afterwards, or not necessarily really good, but I finished each book like, wow, amazing, wow. And you know what? That's all I really want to get out of reading, is knowing that I've enjoyed something and that it was well worth the read. So that's the main thing. Don't ever feel like you need to compare yourself to any bookstagrammers, any booktubers or booktokers that read 20+ books a month. Sometimes that's just really unrealistic for people, and I'm one of those people, and I have been down that hole of comparison, but I pulled myself back up and realized that I ain't about that life. I'm all for the people that do read that much. I just can't physically do that myself. So yeah, read what you can when you can, and I hope you enjoy it. So the first one that I read in August was part of HarperCollins. They do a influencer book club, and basically it's a few bookstagrammers, booktubers and booktokers that they send like advanced reading copies to. They may be already out at the time, and they send a book and other little goodies in the box, and which come with like question cards and things like that, and then we all meet at a certain date to discuss the book and what we thought of it. That one was The List by Yomi Edagoki, and wow, this book was incredible. It blew my mind. It follows the relationship of Michael and Ola, and they're recently engaged and online Insta famous. Ola is a well-known feminist online, supporting women in all their achievements and messiness, and Michael kind of just like rides the wave of Ola and her fame, and they're just known as the loved up couple, famous online. And then what happens is, now this is like such a reminder as to why I don't have Twitter and how much I dislike it. A online Twitter account posts a list full of men's names that have done something to women, so an abuse of some kind, and Michael's name is on the list. It doesn't actually state who allegedly put this person's name on the list. It just says what happened and, you know, when it was or where it was. And so with Michael's name being on the list and both Ola and Michael being recently engaged, this book follows along the journey of finding out the truth behind those allegations and basically how you get through that kind of stuff in a relationship. Now, it opened my eyes to what I would do in that situation, which is, you know, I feel for Ola this whole book, because I feel like if this happened to myself and my husband, and you know, we've been together coming up 14 years and have children together, if some anonymous person put his name on a list, you know, the world expects you to just up and leave and jump when they say jump. And if you don't, then you're going to be harshly judged by a community for not doing what you preach. And I just feel like sometimes there's more to it. I feel like doing your research and figuring out the truth behind these allegations is really important. I'm not saying that, you know, not to believe in things, because obviously we all know that everything has to be considered, but it just really threw me because I don't know what I'd do. I hope I'm never put in that situation where those choices have to be made, but this book really opened my eyes to what people go through, and from both sides. So I highly recommend getting this one. I feel like this was a really important book that covered really important topics, and Yomi, you did amazing. I will be reading whatever she writes next. So that was book number 1. Book number 2 that I finished in August is another arc. So this was a limited advanced reading copy that I was very lucky to get from HarperCollins. So they selected a few of us to receive this ahead of others, and it is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Now, I loved Icebreaker, and this is the second book in the series which follows Russ, who is one of the hockey guys from the first book. You don't hear much of Russ in the first one. He's not one of the main characters, but I'm glad actually that this book was all about him, because he is, my God, he's amazing. He's just amazing. I'm lost for words. I actually am going to put Russ up there above Nate Hawkins. I know, it's huge. I'm the one who has been making TikToks about Nate Hawkins, and now I need to sit down and make some TikToks about Russ, old Russ here, because old Russie, he was the star in this book. So this is Russ in cartoon, and this is Aurora. And basically this book follows Russ and Aurora. They have a one-night stand at the start at a party, and she basically, her coping mechanisms are not great, and she does a runner and he doesn't learn anything more about her. Then they go to a summer camp and end up being, is it counselors, leaders at the same camp, and recognize each other, and it just follows along their journey, getting to know each other and the romance. And wow, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'd read it again. And I'm really looking forward to whatever Hannah Grace brings out next, because she knows how to write male characters that women will absolutely fantasize over. So gotta give her that. Gotta give her that. And the last one that I read in August is now one of my favourite books of all time, up there with Betty, was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Wow. I love my thrillers, and I love thrillers that, how do I explain it? I love thrillers that really get you thinking, and then you're just like, wow, like what? Mind blown? This was one of them, and it was just the fact that you don't know what's going on throughout it, but there were poems written after each incident, because I guess I should explain. So Daisy Darker is a main character in her grandmother's stories. So her grandmother writes kids' books and illustrates them, and she's quite famous for it. And Daisy Darker is a character in one of her stories, and the grandmother lives on this remote, I don't want to call it an island. Actually, the whole book was trying to picture how this house looked, but she lives somewhere where in high tide you can't actually access her house, so you have to wait until low tide to, I don't know if we're walking down a driveway, or it does say now, I can't remember the word, but you can't leave the house basically unless it's low tide. And So her grandmother invites all the siblings, all her family to her house to surprise them with something for her birthday. And then, so high tide comes, they're all stuck there. They all plan to stay the night anyway. And one by one, something goes wrong. And honestly, like, I just felt like I was a character in the book with them, like following along, trying to figure out who's done what, why is this happening, and then the ending. I love books that have you guessing the whole way through and then you guess wrong. Like, I didn't see the ending coming. I've seen a few reviews where people are like, I guessed it. Nah, not me at all. I, for that reason, would highly recommend picking it up and seeing if you can guess what's going to go wrong. I love the poems after each incident, and this would be one that I would reread. And this would also be one that I'd love to read again for the first time. So this was up there like 10 stars, 10 out of 5 stars for me. And I think that I might try and pick up some more of her other books because I've heard she's got other good ones. If there is an Alice Feeney book that you absolutely loved and you highly recommend to people, can you please let me know below, because I think I need to pick up some other ones, but I need to know which ones are actually just as good as Daisy Darker. Amazing. So they are the 3 books that I read in August. I'm very happy and content with this amount and the quality of all 3 books. Like, I'm just stoked. Absolutely stoked with what I read, and now we are in September and I can't believe it. I have already read 2 books, and so what's the date today? It is Monday the 11th of September. I've already read 2, given that the first one I started in August and I just couldn't stay awake to try and add it into August, so I finished it on 1st of September. I'm not one that will add that to August. I feel like someone's watching me to be like, you didn't even finish it, you're lying. So I added it to September, and then I look like an absolute crazy person who finished a book in half a day. I've already read 1 in September, and another one that I've just recently finished was a Lisa Jules' new one. Oh my god, amazing. And now I am on to a local New Zealand author's thriller, and it's also got me hooked. So I'm really enjoying my thrillers, and I know because I am behind in my reading goal for the year. My reading goal was only 50, and at the moment my story graph says that I'm behind by, I think, 4 books. So I'm thinking the only way for me to get back on track is to just smash out thrillers, because they are the ones that I get hooked on and they make me want to reach for them. If I try to read something that's out of my comfort zone or something that's too wordy, I will probably choose the TV or my phone over reading, and I don't want that. If I want to get back on track, I can't experiment. I can't experiment at all. So I hope you had a good month of reading in August, and if there's any books that you enjoyed that you think that I would enjoy, especially thrillers, please let me know below. I'm always up for recommendations, as you know. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share to anyone far and wide. And I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you in my next video. Awesome. See you later.
I was surrounded by